Hello, everyone. Today is November 24th, 2020. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you, God, for allowing each and every one of us to see another day. We ask you, God, that it's been a rough week for many. We ask you, God, that you would comfort those that are going through, that have suffered loss. I ask you, God, that you would feed those that are hungry, protect those that are protectless, and uplift those that need it. In the name of Jesus, we pray, God. We ask you, God, that you bless us and keep us safe. In Jesus' mighty name, we pray. Amen. Um,
Amen.
I'm excited about tonight's show. Um, One main reason is because this is actually the 25th show. I had no idea that we would be going this long. So I definitely want to thank you guys. And if you already tuning in, please, please, please leave your questions or comments in on the live feed so that I know that you guys can see it. Last week we had difficult technical difficulties, and Facebook switched my options, so it was actually just showing on my page, and people couldn't see it. So let me know that you guys are able to see it because it should be public. I just want to make sure that you guys can actually see the show while it's actually going on tonight. Um, with that being said, I want to thank all my former guests. I don't want to start naming names because I don't want to leave anyone out. But I thank all of you guys. I thank everybody that has tuned in so far. I thank you guys for all your questions, your comments, your input, your thoughts and concerns. I'm sometimes I move beyond words because this is something that I thought that I could never see myself doing. I didn't think it was actually possible. But you guys are helping me live a dream. So my heartfelt gratitude is out to all you guys. I truly, truly, truly am grateful, and I truly, truly appreciate it. Um, with that being said, we're gonna keep it kind of light tonight because I was gonna do an announcement later on in the week, but this is gonna be actually the last show of the year in this particular format, so to speak, because next Tuesday's show will be the first, December 1st, and on previous shows I talked about how much my uncle, my bishop, my hero, my mentor meant to me, Bishop James H. Everett. We've lost him this year. So for the whole month of December, I'll be dedicating all those shows to him. Um, so this is going to be the last traditional until 2021. So with that being said, I wanted to make sure I had a spectacular guest. We have another return guest this week. I got a lot of good feedback, texts, calls, and everything about the first time this young lady was on. So I want to take the time out to welcome back the vivacious, the talented, the gorgeous, the beautiful, the sexy, any other additives that are immaculate and great singer, songwriter, actress, model, the one and only Janelle Simone. Welcome, Janelle.
I think that was the best introduction that I've ever had in life. Well, no, like that's top three, yo. That's definitely top three. Thank you. Thank
You're
you.
welcome. You're more than welcome. And thank you for being here. Thank you for taking out the time to do this. And I wasn't just blowing smoke. I actually mean that. Like I got great feedback. I was getting phone calls during the first time you were on, like while we were actually still live on air in Texas. Who is that? Oh man, y'all off the hook. Y'all got good chemistry. Like it was just real good feedback. So I really appreciate you taking the time out to do it then and then returning again just to do it again.
Absolutely. I'm here for it. Here for it.
Yeah. So we're gonna kind of get in we're gonna kind of free flow. But before we get into the free flow, I did my little what's on my heart last week, and everybody let me know that it was real, real good, and they thought it was appreciated. I don't really have that much on my heart this week, so I'm not really necessarily gonna make it a segment, so to speak. But I do want to put this out there before we start having fun and having a good time. This week here is Thanksgiving. Um, Thanksgiving is actually my personal favorite holiday because it's a time where you normally see families come together, people that haven't seen each other in a while. It's like, just that camaraderie, the love that's in the atmosphere, the jokes, just family. So I really it's always been my favorite holiday per se, personally. But I do feel led to make sure we put it out there. I understand that things are very serious and things are like they have never been before. in 2020 with this pandemic and the coronavirus. But I also feel like that it's very, 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 very important that we reach out to people and make sure that Thursday, not just Thursday, but in general, that no one out there is alone.
Mm-hmm.
Because historically, if you do the research from this week here to the end of the year, is the highest rates of suicide. And I didn't think about it until I was thinking about it earlier, and I knew I was going to want to share about this. I think it's going to be even magnified even more this year with the pandemic and with social media, because you see people posting all these pictures and everybody happy and having a good time, and you're sitting in your loft by yourself eating a can of SpaghettiOs or Chinese food or whatever the case may be. And that's not a knock on anybody, but let's make sure that we're really there for one another. The posts and stuff are good there. If you ever need me, I'm here for you. All that sounds good and dandy on Facebook, and it's good to read. But people need to really know that you don't just say those things, that you mean it. So let's reach out to people this Thursday and make sure that no one is left alone. Whether it's just a phone call, you dropping off a plate on somebody's porch, or whatever the case may be. Let's really make sure that we're there for each other during the season, because I'm good, but I'm not good. You know what I mean? Like, my boys are grown now, so I probably more than likely won't see them Thursday, and I'll probably feel some kind of way because, like I said, traditionally that's a holiday that I like, and I'm going to be around people that I love, but there's someone out there that won't be around people that they love. So let's keep those people lifted up in prayer. Let's keep them, and really reach out to them. Let's make sure that no one spend this holiday, Christmas, this season alone by themselves or going through whatever they're going through. Let them know if you're going through, you're not going through by yourself. You got somebody that's rocking with you. With that being said, I also want to give condolences. There are many of us that, once again, first of all, congratulations to everybody that does celebrate Born Days this week and this previous week. But we've had great losses this year. Everybody has. And it's not all just coronavirus. We just all have lost a lot of people this year. 2020 has been a year like never before to me. So I want to give my heartfelt condolences and shout out to one of my life longest friends ever, my brother, Shaka Barnes, Marcus Barnes, Marky, and the whole Barnes family. We lost great man of God, David Barnes, this previous week. Man of God, you were great. You will be missed. You did exactly what you wanted to do. You lived your life according to God's word and tried to really help his people. So thank you for the example that you set. Thank you for all the seeds that you sowed, and you will be missed. But Shaka, you my man. I tell people all the time, other than Anton Anderson, we go all the way back to third grade, me, you, John Jackson. So my brother, anything that I could do for you, anything that you need, your boy here for you, man. And know that I love you and I got your back, man. We're gonna get through this. Now, with that being said, that was all I had on my heart. That was all I had on my heart. So now we could kind of lighten the mood. One of the things that me and Janelle, we talked about, we didn't like, one of the things that most people don't know is this show was totally unscripted.
Unscripted.
It's totally unscripted. Half the time, the guests don't know that they're going to be a guest until maybe Sunday or Monday. And we don't talk about what we're going to talk about and all those things there. But I did put some things out there for Janelle. And one of the things that we're going to talk about tonight, now we haven't pre-discussed this amongst each other, but we're going to get into some pet peeves. As far as I know, I don't want to speak for you, but as far as I know that you're a single young lady, I'm a single young man. So I thought it would be a cool idea if we could give some do's and don'ts. Like, maybe I could give the ladies some things that a man is looking for in a woman, and vice versa, some pros and cons things and then we could go over some of our turn-offs and turn-ons of that nature there. We're going to get into that and pet peeves and just have a candid conversation, because I like chopping it up with you.
I like chopping it up with you too. It's always fun.
I will admit though, you put me in a tough situation earlier, and the reason I say that is because I'd like for the guests to pick their pictures before the pre-show announcement, so that way they don't like, oh, why you pick this one, or why you go do that one, or this one here, that there. And I said, Lord, by the time I get through looking at these pictures, I'm damn sure gonna have to repent because these
You're
pictures
a
are
mess,
mighty yummy. These pictures, I mean, I was in there for a while. Like, Lord forgive me, but
Stop it. So, just stop it.
I picked some, but I normally don't like to do that because I don't want, like I said, I don't want people to feel slighted or why you choose that one or whatever else. But man, so thank you for that treat. It was a burden, but it was a good burden. I thank you for that treat. I haven't been going through the pictures and have to look through them and the window through them to see what I wanted to do. I did use the one that I got the night that I met the superstar Janelle Simone. Thought that was pretty cool. That way, when you actually make it and get famous, I get to say, look, I remember this day. This is the day I met her.
Yep. We went out to eat. We went to the Carolina Ale House.
Everybody, yeah, because if I'm not mistaken, I met you at a show. My god brother, he was promoting the show. He had a show that was out there, and of course, I'm gonna come support my brother. And luckily, you were there that night, and I said, okay, that's a nice looking young lady, and she's funny. She can sing, and I don't even know how I came up, but hey, let's go get something to eat. And a group of us went out to eat after the show was over.
Yep.
In Carolina, like I said, at Briar Creek, and it was wonderful. It was wonderful. And ever since then, I was like, yo, she got a friend for life. Yo, I can rock with her. She's my kind of people. I like real. I like people that can be real. So, which one you want to start out with? You want to start out with the dating, or you want to start out with the pet peeves?
I'm gonna start off with the dating. Hold on one second. Let me put my phone on Do Not Disturb.
Okay.
Should have did that before. Okay, here we are. All right. So, I mean, we could do the dating first because, I mean, that's the arena that I'm in at this particular moment, dating.
Okay.
So we're doing the do's and don'ts of dating.
Yeah, well, however you want to go. We can do the do's and don'ts, what it is that you're looking for, what it is that you're not looking for. You know what I mean? Turn offs, whatever case it be, whichever area you want to go to. But all you viewers also put your suggestions in the comments as well as your pet peeves, and we'll try to get to them as we get to that part of the show.
Okay, that's what's up. So I used to have what's called my non-negotiables. And keep in mind, my non-negotiables as a young woman, completely different than my non-negotiables as a woman. Like my non-negotiables as a young woman is you couldn't have kids. Your mother had to be either living on the other side of the country or deceased. Now, wait a minute. I know you laugh, but the reason why I say this is because I dated a lot of mama's boys, and there's nothing wrong with a man loving his mama. But these guys, it's like you can't give me an end because you're so stuck on your mama. And then like you can only be married once. I wouldn't date somebody who was married multiple times. So I was younger and I was very, rigid.
Gotcha.
Now my non-negotiables are more realistic things. Like at this age, it's virtually impossible to find somebody who doesn't have kids. 80, 85, 90% of people got kids.
Very, very, very hard.
Right. So, I'm like the only one. I'm like, they'll be like, you got kids? I'm like, no, I don't have any children, thank God. But my non-negotiable is I give you one and then you give me one.
All right.
Here's my non-negotiable. When we go out on a date, I always pay attention to how he treats the waiter. Because if you treat somebody who's serving you like a piece of trash, we can't take it any further, bro. That's somebody who, now, even though they're getting paid to serve you, they're serving you.
Let me write that down real quick.
You're going, okay, good. Yeah. If you're so crazy. But yes, if you're treating somebody who's serving you like trash and this sense of entitlement. And I've been on dates like that before the date is over. Like after the food is done, I drink my wine, I'm going home, I'm blocking your number because I don't do disrespect. I'm not for myself or anybody else and that I'm around. So what's yours? All right,
so along those lines, one that, it not necessarily bothers me, but it's shocking to me, and it does bother me to a certain degree. For one, I'm from Jersey. I'm from North New Jersey. I tell people all the time, listen, one thing about Jersey women is Jersey women are built different. and you're built totally, completely different if you're a woman from North New Jersey. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's hard for them to find, like, it's different. It's a different level of realness. And I was home during the summer, and I was going out with this young lady, and she said, but well, before I say that, my problem is, what bothers me is, if you want a man to be a man, let a man be a man.
Mm.
You know what I mean? And the reason I say it like that is because what happened was we were getting ready to go out, and we leave out the house. We going to get in the car, and I go over to open the door for her. She's like, "What are you doing?" And I mean, I'm like, "What do you mean? What am I doing? I'm opening the door for you." Oh, I ain't know. I ain't know what she was doing, and it was kind of disheartening at the same time, because it's like, you know, chivalry isn't dead, or whatever however you want to word it, or whatever case may be. There are still some men that open door for women and stuff like that. But the fact that I'm going to open the door for you, and you asking me, what am I doing? It's just like, well, what kind of dudes are you used to digging?
The dudes
You know what I
ain't
mean?
the same.
But then you wonder why you're tired of being treated the way that you're being treated. I think that's an oxymoron. You know what I mean? It's like you can't have your cake and eat it too. So, like I say, if you want a man, let a man be a man. There's nothing wrong with a man opening the door for you. You know what I'm saying? Now, to play devil's advocate, it's two sides of that, because this is one issue that I do have an issue with too. When women they have the preconceived mindset of things that a man are supposed to do. You know what I mean? Because that is just the vivid of your imagination. There is no rule book. This is what men do. There is no law to that. And the reason I say that is because, like I said, I have no problem opening up a door for a woman. But if I see you get to the door first, and you just stand in there like the Queen of Sheba, wait for me to catch up so I can open the door for you, that's not cool to me.
That's not cool me. That's me. I swear that's me. That's me.
So just let me make sure. So just make sure I'm in front, so I can go ahead and get the door first. Don't get to the door first before me.
Well, I'll tell you why. Is because, just like you said, I dated. So I was married one time, and I was married for 5 months. I've told this story so many times. But I was married, and
you were married once or twice?
Once
for 5 months.
For 5 months. So technically, it didn't count, because technically, but they changed the laws, because in North Carolina, and you could get an annulment within, like, if you got a divorce within 6 months, they wouldn't call it a divorce, right? But they changed it now. It's only 30 days. So if you're married for more than 30 days, then you have to get a divorce in North Carolina. But they changed the laws. But when I was with him, he made it his business to open up doors. He would rush to a door. If I touched the door, he'd be like, "What are you doing?" So he definitely had, I mean, car doors, restaurant doors, doors. To the point where when we separated and I started dating other people, I never forget, I went on this date with this guy named Chris and went to Red Robin. And
don't put Chris on blast like that.
I'm gonna put him on blast. Because he's easy to put on blast. But Red Robin got the double doors. So I get to the door before him, and I did stop. And then he got to the door. He was like, "So what, is the door automatic or something?" I was like, "No, I'm waiting for you to open up the door." And he kind of looked at me like, but I had been doing that for 4 years though, like 4 years. So I was like, I hate using this word, but I'm kind of trained to do that. And then the last guy I dated was even worse with it. Like, if I went to go touch a door, he'd be like, "What you doing?" I'm like, and he'd be like, "When you with me, you don't touch doors." So now I'm just spoiled. I don't know what I'm getting. It's just like, but it's nice to have all the doors in the world open up for you when there's a man around. It's nice. I like it, honestly. So
all right. So in that same regard, if it feels that wonderful, if it feels that great, what's wrong with every 1,000th time you actually allowing your man to know what that feels like?
I do. But see, for women, you have to be a great communicator. See, most times when people say you have to communicate effectively, or you have to be a great communicator, people assume that means that you have to share everything that's wrong with you when it's wrong with you. But that's not that's not just the case. You need to also share like praises, like what makes you feel good. What does your man or your woman do that makes you feel good? What do you like? There are little things. Like, I'm not gonna lie. One of my favorite things is when the bae get that new set from Bath and Body Works. The man sent, and he comes in, and after his shower, he smells it. The whole house smells just like him. Like, I love a man to go to bed with the scent on. And are you writing this down? And I appreciate it because when he gets up to go to work before I do, he leaves his scent in the bed. I'm just like, oh. And I just tell him, when I was dating, I appreciate that. It makes me feel, number one, I'm a smellonista. I love good smells. It makes me feel like you're super sexy. And I love it. I love to smell him on me.
Like that. I like that. It smells a whole lot better than weed and Henny.
Bruh, because weed, I cannot stand that smell. And it's hard. It lingers. It lingers on your breath. It lingers in your clothes. It lingers on my clothes. I can't stand it. Pet peeve, non-negotiable.
You hear that weed smoking, right? Hey, you got to find another way. You got to do the edibles or something when you with the queen.
Crazy.
Now, for me, I never liked that word because, like you said, I was married for 22 years. I know about that whole marriage thing too. So yeah, but one of the things that I would say, like, I don't like that word deal breakers. Period.
Okay.
I don't believe that relationships should have deal breakers. Like, call it whatever you want. So I just don't like that particular word, deal breaker. Mm-hmm. Like, if you do this, then I'm going to do that. Because from the time I've been 13, 14, actually getting involved with women, I've only had one rule, like one real rule that you would consider necessarily a deal breaker. And that is, do not, under no circumstances, ever give me an ultimatum. And I feel like deal breakers are the same exact thing. Because I would tell women that I would date, if you give me an ultimatum, you already provided yourself with your answer. Because even if I wanted to do it, I'm not going to do it because you're telling me either this or that. So I'll take that and I'll miss out. I have no problem with that. But that's just me. Don't give me no ultimatum because I would never give you an ultimatum. Either you're going to do this here or you're not going to do it. You know what I mean? Nah, I don't think that's cool when it comes to relationships. So I don't, that would be like my number one thing, other than, it's funny because I had this conversation with a young lady not too long ago about pros and cons. And I would think, after thinking about it more and more, because I really didn't know. People always say, well, what do you want? I'll be honest, I don't really know what it is that I want or what I'm looking for. I just love this sense of freedom. I love freedom. That word, I say the word freedom at least 5 or 6 times a day. I'm not mad at anybody that want to be in a relationship or in marriage and all that there. But I have never in my life had this sense of freedom that I have now, where I eat what I want to eat, when I want to eat it. I go where I want to go, when I want to go with it. I don't have to check. I don't have to, you know what I mean? All that. I've never had this sense of freedom as an adult, and I like it. I like it. I'm not ready to quite give it up yet. But the one thing that I would say will be at the top of my list of what it is that I'm looking for, I would have to be with somebody that accepts me for who I am. Not my potential, not who I could be, not who I might one day be, because can you still rock with me if I never get to that status? You see what I'm saying? So I need somebody that's going to rock with me, for who I am right now on November 24th, 2020. Because that's what I'm rocking with you for. And I think that's a lot, me personally, counseling and talking to a lot of people, I think that's one of the big problems that we all make when it comes to relationships. I think a lot of times, a lot of us, we're in relationships and we get married based off of potential, what could be as opposed to what is. Because the truth of the matter is sometimes things are not going to change. And then guess what? Sometimes things are going to change, but they may change for the worse. But are you still willing to rock with that person through hell or high water? Bonnie and Clyde. That's what I always like to use. Instead of marriage, I like to say, I need me a Bonnie. So I'm sure be a Clyde. We gonna ride this thing out till the wheels fall off. Me and
Hello,
you together.
somebody.
I got your back, you got my back, and we gonna shoot it out, whether it's us against the world. But I need to know that you gonna rock with me. You know what I mean? Whether I'm in the church or whether I'm in a bar, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
No matter what it is, I need to know that you got my back because I'm gonna have yours. So that would be my number one thing overall on the what it is that I'm looking for. Somebody that's willing to accept me and be with me for who I am right now. Got potential.
And I think when you're dating, you have to split it off between what's statistic and external and what is intrinsic and internal. So what I mean by that is, okay, so somebody will say one of my non-negotiables is I do not date guys with kids. Well, that would make sense if you are a woman who don't have kids and you aren't good with kids. Like there are a certain group of women, they can't communicate with children. They don't like communicate with children.
Absolutely.
So it would be a disadvantage for you to date a guy who has a young child, knowing that you don't have the tools necessary to either communicate with that child, help raise that child, enlighten, educate that child. You do yourself a disservice and you do him a disservice. Let him go so he can find a woman. So that's more statistic external. But then something like intrinsic, for example, this is one of my weird pet peeves. I used to always say to my ex-husband or to the guys I would date, yo, I just want to make you happy. Like, I just want us to be happy. I just want us to be happy. Now, if a guy tells me in 2020, you make me happy, I back up. And here's the reason why. Because what I've learned is the person you make responsible for your happiness is a person who is set up with an expectation that they will never, ever meet at all times. To wake up with the pressure and with the responsibility of someone else's happiness is cruel, it is irresponsible, and it is traumatic for most people. Because you have to understand that for those women who are in abusive relationships, when he doesn't feel happy, for those men who are in relationships with women who will belittle him and dehumanize him, when she doesn't feel happy, because they're miserable. And I call them bums. And I can't tell you what it is, but it's the B word under misery, bumps. And so what I do now is, when I got a divorce, I said, you know, what do you want to do? And music came, well, music has always been in my life, but I start really doing music. I start being in it, loving it. And that makes me happy. I'm responsible for my own happiness. So whoever the man that steps in my life, he has to know, like, look, bro, all this right here is icing, but you the cake. I need you to have your flour. I need you to have your eggs, your milk, your butter. You got to bring those ingredients with you. You either have to be born with it or you have to accumulate it by the time you get to me. But I'm not your cake. I'm the icing. I'll be the cherry on top for you. I'll be the safe space you can come home to and be your authentic self. You want to run around the house butt behind naked, you can do that. But what we're not going to do is you're not going to revolve your life around me, because I'm going to drop the ball and you're going to be upset because you've mistaken me for your happiness. And you can't ooh.
That's good right there.
You've mistaken me for your happiness, and you can't do that. And I won't do that for you. So that means if you want to go out and hang with your fellas and you come home an hour late, I won't be, oh my God, who are you stepping into the house an hour late? I'd be like, babe, I'm home. I'm like, oh, I was just finishing up my album. You done made it home already? I'm not, that's you, bruh. I'm not going to take, a lot of people go into relationships and instead of honoring the person, they want to own the person. So that's what I've learned now. So if a guy be like, look, I want you to make me happy, cut it, not going to do it.
No happy. Okay. All right. So while we right there, let me ask you this. In a relationship with you, how important is happiness to you?
Happiness is very important. There's a documentary on Netflix called Happy, where the director of the Ace Ventura films, you know, he had all these millions and stuff, but he was saying that he wasn't happy. A lot of us aren't happy. A lot of us are sustaining a life through being okay, being almost okay or almost correct.
Getting by.
Getting by. Yeah, just getting by. They're not happy. They're just, I don't even know what the word is. But for me, the search for happiness, the need for happiness is very important. And I need whoever steps into my circle to like, look, bruh, nobody can help you find that but you. Like, and you find that a lot of people will supplement what they think will make them happy. So, I got a girl now, I'm happy because this is what the world says is gonna make me happy, but I want to control her. Or I got money now and now I'm supposed to be happy because this is what the world told me I was going to be. I need to be happy. But now I got all these problems and I don't have anybody to share it with. Or it's just all these different things. You got to really take into account what's going to make you happy. And I want people to, when I date people, I always ask them very important questions. Like, I don't ask, what are you into? Or, how old are you? Well, how old are you? Obviously, you gotta be of age. But like, I don't ask like the superficial questions. I ask some really like deep. When I have conversation with guys, they walk away from the conversation. They be like, "Did you just psychoanalyze me?" One of my questions is, "What's the best part of you? What's the worst part of you?" And I leave it open-ended. And then, you know what's so crazy? When I say what's the best part of you, they can rattle off so many things, right? And I always say non-physical, because, you know, you ask a guy what's the best part of you, the first thing he's gonna say is whatever. But when it comes to what's the worst part of you, they actually have to sit there and think with that, like, dang, what would be considered the worst part of me?
Wow. And see, I'm just the opposite. I find that amazing. Because
Wow.
I could tell you more of my flaws than I can my positives. Because I'm the type of person, I can't necessarily see what's positive or what's not positive about me in my eyes. But I do know where I have flaws at. Like, one thing I always try to tell any woman that's ever eligible to date me or considering it, the first thing I tell them off the back is, I am by far the most moodiest man you have ever met. And when I say that, it doesn't mean I always got an attitude, but sometimes I have no problem with us sitting right here on the couch. You're sitting on your end of the couch. I'm sitting on my end of the couch. And we could go a whole hour with no words are said. Guess what? That doesn't mean that we have a problem. Like, if we're not constantly in conversation and things like, it doesn't necessarily mean that we have a problem. I just don't feel like talking right now. You know what I mean? And I'm one of those people, like I said, one day sometimes I'm affectionate. I want to be lovey-dovey and hold hands and hold on you and lay on your lap and lay on your chest and all that did. And some days I'm like, well, you get away from me. You know what I'm saying? It's not nothing that you do individually. It's just that my mood dictates what I want at that particular moment. You know what I mean? So what would be something that you think that can help me get over that?
Well, keep in mind, the communication is great, but it's the way you communicate, right? So, for example, when you walk into
because of course I wouldn't say, get off me. Like, what are you doing? Stop touching me. No, it ain't like that did.
And a lot of men don't do that. So this is what I take into account. I take into account what type of man you're dating. Now, in the perfect world, this is the way that I want to be communicated with. If my man steps into the house and he says, I don't feel like talking right now. Most men I find shut down verbally and they shut down physically. So after saying I don't want to talk, he doesn't want to verbalize anything else. And then he shuts down. What you do at that point, especially for a lot of women, because we're very emotionally in tune and we're very, most of us feed off of that physical and verbal connection. You leave her to think like, well, damn, did I do something? Even if the man, it's all true. Even if the man said, you didn't do anything, I'm just in one of my moments right now. First thing she's gonna try to do is try to fix it. Like, let me try to fix it. And so what you got to take into account is, like you said, sometimes it doesn't need to be fixed. It just needs to be felt, right? So what I would want my man to do is, I'm very affectionate. Physical touch is one of my love languages. So for a man to come in the way he tells me, don't tell me walk into the door saying, I don't want to talk right now and walk into the room. That's the wrong way to do it. Don't tell me, don't sit on the couch, separate it and be like, I don't feel like talking right now. And then looking at TV or in your phone, that's the wrong way to do it. When you have someone who's emotionally connected, what you should do is, number one, whenever I communicate with my man, I always touch him. And normally I touch his heart. I do that a lot. I'm a touchy-feely person, but physical touch reinforces the message. It also, because we're humans, but we're animals at the end of the day. I'm just being like, we like to be touched, petted, coast, all that. Mm-hmm. So I touch him first, and I'll say, I'm really going through something right now, and at this point, you won't be able to fix this or help this. I just got to go through it. Do you mind if we just sit here and watch a movie, and because I don't feel like talking about it? You get a better response out of it because what you're doing.
Absolutely.
You're communicating effectively. You're giving that physical affection that they need to receive the message. And then the person, even the most emotionally connected person, will be like, you know what? To help you fix it, I'm going to do exactly what you're asking me to do because you gave me an answer on how you're going to fix it yourself. But if you just say, I don't want to talk, you leave the gates wide open. Now I'm taking out my scapula, I'm taking out my surgical. I'm ready to fix it. What's going on? Who do we need to fight? You want to talk? Tell me what's going on. How you feeling? Was it your mama, your brother, your daddy? Who did? Mm-hmm. It's like, no, baby, I don't want to talk about it. But who did it? Give me that reinforcement and I'll give it right back to you.
Gotcha. I like that. And that's real good. And matter of fact, Facebook world. I want to address this to all my single ladies, my married ladies, all my sisters out there that's watching. I was going to get to that because that was actually one on my pet peeve list. Mm-hmm. But right now, I'm not just speaking for Marvin. I'm speaking on behalf of all men. Okay. I do not need fixing. Sometimes when I tell you what's going on, I'm not telling you so you can help me figure it out. I'm just verbalizing and getting it out. I don't need your help. If I want your help, I will ask you for it. I promise you that. But don't take it the wrong way. Like, well, it's just me loving you and me trying to show you that I'm supporting you. Once again, it ain't always what you do. It's sometimes how you do it. But at the end of the day, you making me as a man feel more like a child when you constantly trying to help me fix everything. I tell you this here is that, well, won't you do this here, that thing? You got a suggestion for everything. I don't need fixing. I'm not a radiator. I'm not a carburetor. I'm not a sink. I don't need fixing. So let me figure it out. Now, if I ask you, babe, well, what do you think? You got the green light to go ahead but until you hear that, ladies, please, please, please try to fall back on the Dr. Phil advice and what you think and what Ayana told you in her situation. Like, let your man be the one that opened up that door, please, please. But at the end of the day, I don't need fixing. You know, I got a good question. We got a good question here.
Oh, what is it?
All right, so shout out Jenny Jen. What's good, Jen? Jennifer Slaughter says, how important is religion in a relationship? And when does that come up when dating and getting to know someone?
I always say there's four deal breakers, I guess. You can't tell nobody who to pray to, who to vote for, who to sleep with, and what to eat. These four things always get me into an argument because if I'm Democrat, you're Republican, if obviously we're both straight, but you can't, if I'm straight, you bi, or I'm bi, you straight. Yeah. If I'm vegan and you're a meat eater, so these four things always come up. So here's the thing. It depends upon how much that thing means to you. So for me, I'm pretty sure we didn't discuss this before, but for me, religion is not a huge thing in my book. Mm-hmm. I'm more concerned on how you treat people versus who you pray to, because I know Christians that are some of the most horrible people on this earth. Paula White, she's a proclaimed Christian, and she's talking about Black Lives Matter is
name those names.
Right. I know atheists that are the nicest people. I know Muslims that will give the shirt off their back. So it really depends upon how much it means to you. So for me, we do have the conversation about religion much later. I do ask certain questions to kind of probe how important it is to him. And if he's one of those people where he's like, I'm a Christian and I need to date a devout Christian, then I'm not going to be the one for him. Gotcha. I'm so spiritually open that I'm the type of girl, like if he's a Christian, he says the last guy I dated, he prayed before we ate every single time. So while he was praying, I was praying with him. Like, I'm not going to be like, oh my God. But my ex-husband was a Muslim. So he prayed 5 times a day. I mean, he would get out of bed and pray 5 times a day. And it wasn't for me to disrespect that because that's his religion made him happy. But he didn't get mad at me because I didn't get out of bed with him and pray with him, But I was the girl that also like woke him up in case like, oh, it's 5 o'clock in the morning. It's time for you to get up and pray.
Make prayer, yes.
Exactly. So it really depends on how important it is to you.
All right. So Jen, that's actually, Jen, that's a good answer. And Jen, that's a great question. Me personally, I agree with just about everything that you said, because I think it's a personal thing. Me personally, I am a Christian. I am a born again Christian. I do believe Jesus Christ was fully man, walked this earth just like us, and was fully God at the same time. Not only that, but he also died for our sins, but he didn't just stay dead. He rose again for our sins. That is my personal belief. However, I'm with you the same way. I've never dated a Muslim. I've never dated an atheist, but I wouldn't say that I wouldn't date one because of the way they believe. What I say is, as long as you respect who Christ is to me in my life, you know what I mean? The only thing that I would ask in return, me personally, is that you said, like you said, you do have a relationship. Me personally, I don't like the word religion. My mom is a pastor, and we were talking about this Sunday. Me personally, I don't like the word religion. I stick to the word relationship. What is your relationship with Allah, Jesus Christ, your creator, however it is that you look at it? Because at the end of the day, there is a greater being, however you want to view it. What is your relationship like with that? If that's non-relevant to you, or you really don't care about that, then chances are we're not going to really go that far. Because the same way I want to please my Savior, I want to know that it is that you do have a relationship with a God, with their higher being, with the Almighty, that you're looking to make him just as proud as you are of yourself, him to be proud of you. You know what I mean? So that's what's important to me. I don't necessarily believe that, well, because I'm a Christian, you got to be a Christian too. Because like you say, I know all their bad facets of every religion. Every religion. Everybody that says that they're Christian ain't Christ-like. Everybody that's Muslim is not living the lifestyle. Because any of the Muslims will tell you, Islam is not a religion, it's a way of life.
It's a way of life. Yep. It absolutely
is. All of them are not living according to the way of life that they know to live. You know what I mean? So we all like I say, I'm a Christian, so that's the saying that I always say, we all have our crosses to bear. And I was having this discussion with a pastor not too long ago. In that believing, if this is for the Christians now, but if you believe in the cross and all that there, the reason that we say everybody has a cross to bear is because as Christians, we're supposed to be Christ-like. But when Jesus went to the cross, he had to carry the cross. I always ask people, where were the 10 lepers at that he healed? Where were the 5,000 that he fed with the 2 loaves of fish and 5 loaves of bread? You know what I mean? Where were all these people? Where was the woman with the issue of blood? All the miracles that he worked, where were all these people to stand up and say, no, this really is the Son of God? They all stood quietly, and what happened? He had to carry that cross himself. So if I'm to believe that I'm a Christian, there are certain things in life that I'm going to face and I'm going to be up against that, guess what? I'm going to have to carry myself. I'm going to have to go through those things alone. And it's an opportunity for me to tap into that relationship so he can help get me through it and guide me through that situation, because that's what I need him for. But there's no one else that's going to be able to help me carry that cross, because some burdens we have to carry ourselves and ourselves alone. And that's my take on that. My man Biz said you can both have differences and still have unification. Absolutely.
That's true.
Absolutely. So Jen says, so do you begin do you being up early? What is that? I'm sorry, y'all. My son laughed at me the other day when I had to do this, but I'm getting a
Trying
little
to read without your glasses. See, look.
yeah. So do you being it up early in the dating stage? I guess she's asking like, so when do you talk about it? You said that is much later on. Uh, I don't necessarily have a timetable when you discuss religion because chemistry is real big to me too. I know
Okay.
that for me being who I am, you have to have a sense of humor, even if it's corny, even if it's dull. If you're gonna rock with me, you got to be able to laugh, like because
Right.
I'm gonna do some things that you're gonna be like, Lord jeez, like you just gonna have to shake your head a lot of times. But I'm that type of person, so you have to have a sense of humor. So being that I'm that big on chemistry, if the chemistry ain't right on them first 2 or 3 days, it ain't even no need for us talking about your religious views. You see what I'm saying? So I
Yeah.
don't really have a timetable as opposed to in the beginning versus later on. I need to know that we got some kind of chemistry, and the more that we get, I feel a connection. Then we could go there and get to that, the meat and potatoes, so to speak. You know what I mean? We can get on to the full course meal. So, what are your religious views? How do you feel about, you know, Islam? How do you feel about Christianity? And then we could reevaluate the chemistry part based on the conversation that we had on religion, if it's a so-called deal breaker for you or not. You know what I mean? But I don't necessarily think that has to necessarily be at the front or toward the end, so to speak. I think it's something that you should fill out because, like I said,
I think that so those four things, because, and I want to say this in the right way. Those were things about how you maneuver in society, who you pray to, who you vote for, who you sleep with, what you choose to eat. A lot of that is divisiveness, right? And what I mean by that is, Pastor John Gray is a pastor, he's a Christian, but you can't a lot of these women are running to the churches to find a husband, and a lot of men in the churches running to find a mistresses, and then a lot of men also running to the church to find their husbands too. So, my thing is when you use when you center this one thing, like, okay, so I'm a Christian, you're going to have to be a Christian to date me. If religious people were hooking up with religious people like that and making each other happy, there wouldn't be a lot of single women in the church. And I mean all churches, or all facets of religion. I think that you can ruin getting to know somebody really spectacular just because they don't believe like you. Or hold on, why is people calling me? I'm gonna call them back. Good. Just because they don't believe like you, they don't see God the way you see God. Now, me personally, let me tell you a little bit of history about me. I was very Christian growing up. My grandmother is a Baptist. I was going to church. I was reading the Bible. I was heavy into religion. My first boyfriend, I can't even call him a boyfriend. I haven't told too many people this, but my first boyfriend, or the first intimate partner that I had, was the deacon of the church. I was 15, he was 36. So my views on church is completely something different.
absolutely. No, I'm saying absolutely. I can only imagine.
Yeah. So what I do now is I'm just so gung-ho on, is the person a good person? If you hung out with someone and they made you feel beautiful and they treated everybody with respect and love and kindness, but then you found out that they were a Muslim, or they were atheists, at that point, would you then not want to get to know them? And then my next question would be, if they told you that, would you then continue the relationship in the hopes that they would somehow revert to being Christian? You know, and if that doesn't happen for you, are you going to then leave that person? So it's things like that that has me just, you know, I decide not to just focus on that. I'm solely about the heart.
Yeah.
I'm all about the heart.
Yeah, because like you said, it goes back into what I was saying earlier. Like, to me, that goes right along in that category of accepting somebody for based off of potential. Like, one thing about me is, like, my friends always, they tease me a lot because I never forget when the movie Boomerang came out. I seen it probably like 4 times opening weekend. And I remember going to see it with one of my best friends, Ed, at the time. We had took some young ladies to say it. He was like 30 minutes into the movie, he like, yo, how did they make a movie about you without getting your permission? Like, you are the character Marcus. Like, that is you all the way. And I'm like, no, man, it's not. I don't sleep with anybody that I can. And here's the reason why I tell you that. Because I have enough female friends in my life, and I had enough female friends over the course of my life that I know that there are plenty of women, not all women, but there are plenty of women out there that hear you say, okay, let me put it like this. I told you my situation. So I'm not necessarily looking for a relationship right now. And I'm honest with women about that. If you're looking for something long term, you might want to keep on searching. I'm not saying that I'm not open to it. It's just not what I'm looking for at this particular time of my life. You know,
Gotcha.
but I keep it real with women like that there. And it's like, I believe that you have to be honest, because I tell women, like, what I'm saying is, okay, so you hear women to say, you'll tell a woman the same thing. I can tell a woman, there is a woman that I can tell the same thing. Listen, I'm not looking for anything long term. And what her response is to me is, oh, that's okay. I like you for who you are, and we can still rock and all that there. And that's what her mouth is saying. But in her mind, what she is saying is, that's what he's saying right now. Wait till I put this thing on him and ride
that never works.
and then all of a sudden, we're going to see what his song going to be changing it. Then when you ride the wave, and 6 months later, things don't change. Now, all of a sudden, I'm the bad guy. Well, no, all I did was ever keep it real with you. You know what I mean? So you got to know people. You can't just sleep with people just because you have the opportunity to. You got to be smarter. Well, first of all, let me backtrack. As Christians, you shouldn't. If you're not married, you shouldn't be having sex anyway. Let's just put that out.
Follow the Bible.
Let's just put that out there. You shouldn't be sleeping around anyway.
But I got people like that. You're right. They get with these girls, and the girls are just like, and they're honest with them. It's so crazy. They're like, look, I don't want a relationship. You get involved with me, just know that, like, look, it's just going. This is the epic. This is this is the peak. And those girls are like, you know, and I'm gonna tell, and I have brothers, and I'm gonna tell women, if y'all don't know, it don't matter how good your stuff is, ain't no better round than new round, even if it's bad. The fact that it's coming from somebody new. So all I'm saying is, don't let that think that you're gonna change somebody's life.
One of my boys, Biz, we got another comment. I gotta read this one, boy. Biz, man, you went on this one, boy. If you ain't speaking the truth right there, you need to put your Cash App in the comments so people can send you a love offer. He says, people mistake chemistry for connection. We can like the same football team, that's chemistry. But to have the same vibe would be connection. Either way, people usually settle for convenience.
Oh, that's love.
That I like that. That's I can't word it no better than that. I like that. Because it's true. Like, a lot of people, especially with the corona, how many people are still together now because you was on your way out? But the lockdown shut all that out.
Loving somebody,
now you stuck.
You can love somebody through inconvenience. You mean it. If you can love somebody through inconveniently loving them, Lord, you mean it. You mean it.
Yeah. I like that one. I like that one.
I do too.
All right, so I want to do some of these pet peeves before we wrap up.
Okay.
One thing that really drives me crazy. Lord have mercy. Now, some of them I know I can't share. Some of them I got to keep personal because I don't want to lose no friends. But just know at the end of the day, it's never me being mean. It's never me being facetious. It's not me being trying to be funny. It's just me being honest. If I ever say anything that you take negatively, it's just me telling you where I stand at. I'm being real with you. I'd rather be real with you than to be fake with you. You know what I mean? I'd rather give you a hard no than a soft yes. So I'm gonna always be real at the end of the day. But so I ain't gonna start with that one. I'm gonna get to it, but I ain't
I
gonna
want
start
one
with
of the
that
good ones. Yeah, because now
one.
I
Yeah,
want one of the good
I'm
ones.
not
I
gonna
want one of
start
the
with
ones
that. So, but another one that's up there right underneath that is I love you more. If I tell you I love you and you say I love you more, first of all, if you really care about our relationship or our friendship, please never ever tell me that because it actually pisses me off. It's like it drives me crazy because when did love become a competition? First of all, how do you even know that you love me more? You know, people say, well, it don't even sound good to me. I don't even know where that saying came from. I love you, but I love you more. I don't know that I love you more, so I would never tell nobody that. So oh my God, that really drives me crazy when people say, I love you and I love you more. You want to know more people? Oh my God, no.
I say
I
it
ain't had no,
all
I
the
ain't had nothing
time.
written down on your con side of the page here. All pros over here. No
I
con.
say it all the time. All the
Why
time.
is that?
I love you more. All the
So
time.
as someone that actually says it and uses it, what are you implying when you say that? What does that actually mean to you?
Well, I started saying it because of the music thing and you know, Love Bug Nation. That's Durham. I don't know why I'm doing this as Durham. But Love Bug Nation. And when people used to come up and say, "Oh, I love you," and then I would say, "I love you more." And in that instance, I did love them more because I mean, there's someone who doesn't know me. I don't really know them, but they just heard me sing or they came to a show and they end up loving my set. But I love them as a person who's indulging and engaging in my actual talent. So I feel like the love is different because I need them more than they need me. So for them to appreciate me, it's an honor. It's truly an honor. And then it trickled over to relationships. And I'm not gonna lie to you, to most relationships, I did love those brothers more. Because when it came to virtually no one has love without conditions. People say, you know, I love you like God loves you. Well, God loves you
Nah, we
unconditionally.
don't. Yeah.
Yeah, but we don't. We have all these conditions, and when those conditions are met, our love tends to modify into different things. And so, I love every brother I've ever been with. Trust you me that they can hold a candle to the sunshine that is my love. You can take it to the bank and you can cash that.
Okay. I hear you, sunshine. I hear you. I'll take your word for it. So what's one of your big pet peeves?
One of my big pet peeves is like all my stuff is like hygienic. Well, and then spiritual, but one of my biggest, and I was telling you this when we got on live, it is brothers with beards, okay? And I love a good beard. I'm so weird. I actually smell beards. I know that's crazy. But if I'm caught up next to my man, I will stick my face right up under his promise you, and go to sleep just like that.
Just beards in general, or is there a particular kind of beard? Full beard, like chin straps. Which one is it for you?
The fuller the better. Like the whole goatee thing is, I mean, but a beard to me it does something no matter what, just facial hair, period. I feel like such a woman when they all up on my neck and I'm just like, oh my God. I'm telling you right now, a man put his lips and his beard right here and you, baby, woo, honey, try to keep them closed. Stop writing stuff down.
You can't fault me.
But I got to say this. Men, when you get up in the morning or go to bed at night and you're at the sink and you're brushing your teeth and you're brushing your beard, I don't know if y'all looking or not, but you always leave. For the fellas who date me, it's always this one strand of facial hair in the sink. Now, I know what you fellas going to say. Well, y'all women leave weave hair everywhere. Y'all women leave your track hair everywhere. Okay, that's not me. Just don't leave get your hair out the sink. Wash it down the drain. Don't leave that one piece of funky, stinking hair just in the sink. It just, it does something to me. I can't stand it.
My man Biz, the one that left that intelligent, highly well comment, he says, "Oh shucks, he has a beard."
Is it a full goatee? Is that music? Well,
Yeah,
goatee,
he actually was on my football reunion edition show, so you can peep him on that one, see what he's looking like. Now, one thing I try to tell my friend, because like I said, I mentioned I didn't get into the topics and stuff like that, but I got a lot of feedback after your last show. Now, one thing I will tell my homies, my fellas, like, look, you're gonna shoot your shot, shoot your shot. This ain't 5th grade, you know what I mean? Because I find you attractive as well. And I've told you that on camera, off camera.
Don't shoot your shot. Y'all fellas, do not shoot your shot. Let me tell you something. At this time, I'm not a good girlfriend. I'm not looking for nothing. You would not like me. So don't shoot your shot. Save yourself the trouble, please.
And the reason I say that is because they reached out, yo, man, what's up with old girl, man? Put a word. No, I'm not putting no words in for you, bro. You better put a word in for yourself. Now, if you look like Precious, God forbid, that'll be different. I can play middleman for somebody that look like Precious, but when you look like Janelle Simone, I'm not doing no middle game for you, bro. I'm sorry, I can't help you there.
Thank you so much. And Janelle Simone was like crap today. Janelle Simone ain't got no makeup on.
Girl, stop it, yo. You're gonna have me cut you out. You're gonna be the first guest that I wind up cursing out live on the show. Stop that. Stop that. All right, so I did the I Love You More. All right, so another one that really carries me. I'm not no scholar. I never even went to college. The only time I've ever been on a campus was go to a party or a concert. Never been a student or anything else. Not that I'm proud of that or whatever. I'm not ashamed of it, but I ain't proud of it. I'm just putting it out there. I absolutely hate when people don't know how to use words.
There.
They're, oh my goodness. If you use the wrong, and I don't care how good, I don't care how spiritual, I don't care how uplifting your post is. If you're using the wrong there in the wrong spot, I can't even like it. I can't like it. What you were trying to say, not what you said, but what you were trying to say really blessed me. But I can't do them wrong words. I can't do those wrong words. Now I will say, I have noticed the older that I don't like to use the word old. The more experienced that I can become, I do find myself sometimes close. Nah, but that's spelled close. I'm looking for close. You know, sometimes you go back but right. I'd rather you have those conversations in your head before you actually put it out into the masses. Because I'm not a mind reader. I ain't got time to be trying to read a good positive post and I'm trying to figure out what you're saying.
Exactly.
And I have plenty of friends and I'm like, what? Like I can't even make out what it is that you're trying to say because you just using your own kind of vernacular with words and and I totally don't get it. So please know the proper places there, know the proper there. You know, the THY apostrophe RE. You know what I mean? Versus their THERE. And the one thing that really baffles me, and I've just started noticing over Facebook the last I would probably say 2020. Because I didn't know it was a real thing. Because I've actually seen some of the memes where people post the same thing that I'm talking about now. But I didn't know that want and won't people use those wrongs. I have never seen that so much in my life to 2020.
No, it's the North Carolina thing. It really when I moved to North Carolina, yes. Because there was like, I won't dare. You weren't? I won't dare. What you mean you won't? When I moved to North, but I'm telling you, that is a North Carolina thing. Just like in Atlanta, when we say no cap, it is a vernacular thing that is specific to North Carolina. And everybody it's almost like cheerwine. I haven't heard of cheerwine before. I didn't even know cheerwine existed before I moved to North Carolina. I was like, what the heck is cheerwine? But not won't for wasn't or weren't or weren't is something that is only done in North Carolina. I don't hear anywhere else.
And I gotta start paying attention to that just to make sure there ain't none of my Jersey friends that's using that wrong either. Now I remember seeing one of the other girls the other day. I usually scroll by them too, but all those posts that say sis, that start with sis or sisters out there, I'm gonna just keep on scrolling. Because you ain't trying to help people, you're just trying to help women. You know what I mean? I wanna be helped too in something. I don't want to be fixed. Again, I don't want to be fixed, but I want to be helped in certain things. You know what I mean? As far as awareness and you bringing things to my attention. But that it was a post. The initial post was something about how like once you leave, God close the door sometime, don't you ever go back in it or something like that name. And she had her to say in all caps, I want go back to a bad relationship. And I said, I'm saying in my head, do you mean won't?
Won't?
Or you want to go back?
You want to go back. Yeah, because I've been like, yeah, you done screwed that up, sis. For the culture. For the culture.
Yeah. Pop was another one. It don't bother me as much as older man, but when I was younger, Pop used to drive me crazy. Hey, you want to go get some pop? Like what the hell is pop, man? No, I want to go get some soda. Or in Arkansas it wasn't pop. In Arkansas they said Coke. Do you want to get a Coke? I'm like, no, Coke is a brand. A grape soda is not a Coke. Orange Fanta is not a Coke. Coke is a Coke. Pepsi is not a Coke. So let's be more specific, people, with our words, how we use our words.
Look at you. Look at you. The specificity is real. I think the only time I do have an issue with that too. Like, when you use to and two or choose and chose. I don't like the word, and I kid you not, I don't do this anymore, but I used to nip a connection in the bud if a man said conversate. Conversate is not a word. It is a colloquialism. We use it a lot. So technically it is informal grammar, but it is to converse.
Now, I've had this conversation several times too. And this all started with Biggie. Biggie started this whole conversation on the word conversate. Now, technically, I hear people say that, but you can find the word conversate in the dictionary.
No, you can. You can. But it's considered informal, meaning that. So you have words that are informal because it's used so frequently amongst a group of people. So conversate is not grammatically correct. So when you look in the dictionary, it'll have, not in the dictionary, but if you Google it, it'll say informal. And informal is the nice way of saying slang. So conversate for me, so I take it like this. I remember my ex-husband took me to what is it? And I always mispronounce this word. Conky, the restaurant.
Yeah,
Conky.
Japanese.
Okay. So yeah, Japanese spot. So we go to Conky's, right? And I get the menu, and I'm like, well, can I get the grilled salmon? And he looked up from that menu and he was like, salmon? I said, I'm in my young 20s. And I'm very well read. I know how to spell loquacious and verbose and parsimonious, but this salmon word got me. He was like, salmon? And I'm like, what has the L in it? He was like, the L is silent. And he said, as long as we go out together, don't you ever in your life say salmon, because you sound ignorant as hell. And so I just remember that, guess what? Even though I was saying salmon for a good 21 years of my life, now that I'm on a date with someone, if they say salmon, I immediately cringe. I'm like, oh my God, he said it. He said it. I can't.
So what professor of English said that? Where did this theory that the L is silent come from?
Honestly, I do not know. That comes from, it's just like any language, Spanish, English, there are ways it really depends upon where the word derived from. So a lot of these silent L's and silent K's are from, again, the derivative. So derivative can be Latin. And I don't know what, I remember taking French and I remember them. So keep in mind that certain words, certain languages, they will put a constant in the middle of two vowels so the vowels wouldn't touch. So you wouldn't, right? So you wouldn't have. They didn't want the vowels to touch, but the constant would be silent, like a silent L or a silent R. So I know that's a little bit of the history, but I just couldn't stand being corrected. But he, you know what? And I didn't give this brother much credit after he divorced me because I was bitter, but he really did teach me a lot. I will say that brother taught me, he helped me grow up, even though he wasn't as grown as he needed, but he helped me grow up.
Gotcha. Yeah, what's her name said? Beverly Tucker. She said one that used to get on my nerve too. Tennis shoes versus sneakers. Now I definitely know that's regional because me and my cousins, who I love dearly, was a bad basketball player down here in North Carolina in high school. Thought he was going pro everything else. Shout out to my big cuz and J.U. Ice. Taking back all the way to the J.U. Ice days because, but like, man, I'm going to get some tennis shoes. I'm like, that's a trip you take it to the mall by yourself. Because I don't play tennis. I have no use for tennis shoes. He's like, nah, man, you know, we gonna get some new tennis shoes. I'm like, dude, I don't need no tennis shoes. Man, what you think you got on your feet now? I was like, nigga, I got on sneakers. Like, these are called sneakers, like not tennis shoes. I thought you wore tennis shoes on the tennis court. Like tennis shoes. And that's why I say I definitely know it's a regional thing because you will never ever in your life hear anybody in New York City, New Jersey, or Connecticut, or PA, all of North, you would never hear the word tennis shoes.
They say, but down south,
you that.
we say it.
So what's another one of your pet peeves?
Okay, so another one, and this may be weird. So I didn't know that some brothers had okay, so women, let's get a little personal. So you know, we got those pair of underwear that we wear certain occasions. These are not cute underwear. They're very, you know, they may have some holes in it, but we wear them during certain times of the month because they're those types of underwear. Well, men have those, from what I heard, men have those same things. Oh, yeah. My pet peeve is briefs. I'm like, what are you, 55? Like, what do you got on briefs? Like, no, I ain't talking about boxer briefs, because boxer briefs is a whole different story. I love a man in boxer briefs. Don't write that down. I love a man in boxers. But if you took off your pants and I see a pair of tidy whities, okay, even if they're not white, they may be gray. It don't matter if they briefs. I'm clowning you. But from what my friends have told me, brothers do have maybe them 2 or 3, 4 pair of drawers that they have, like when they're running out of underwear and they need to go
just
do their
drawers. Yeah.
They just got like just something to keep everything tamed. I much rather you free ball.
Well, you notice I did, like you said, you didn't have to tell me not to write that down. You notice I didn't pick up my pen because me, I like to be free. Like I said, I like freedom all the way around. I like freedom. So I would like to go out, but to prove your point, what you're saying is absolutely correct. I'm quite sure I still got a pair of boxes that probably got like 1 string of thread left from high school that was super comfortable. And I probably got to put it on a belt with now to wear them.
Wow.
But they would like, you know, and like you said, with women, it's not just a woman thing. Sometimes you get those boxes or whatever the case may be that just feel like, you know, it's like Martin, the episode of Martin where he get to forget Gina a gift and he go to the thing and he touch the panties, like, whoo, you know, you just get some underwear that you feel that makes you feel that way on the inside. So the same way women like that feeling, men do too. We like to feel good every once in a while too about ourselves.
Go ahead. I ain't mad.
But no draws, no tidy whities for you. No tidy
whities. And if you're wearing boxes, please do not let me see it. The waistbands are always cuter than seeing your whole ass. Sagging gets on my nerve. I cannot stand sagging. It gets, hate it.
I never understood that either, especially being a kid from North. And it was crazy because it's sad, but our reality was like, dude, how can you run from the police if your pants is halfway off your booty? You can't run like that. You know,
that's unfortunately true.
You trying to get caught. Who does that? But that's one thing. All right, so I got a couple of texts back there. They was like, they like you. So I'm going to put it out there. They like, no, man, you got to tell us what bothers you the most. Okay. being in this dating phase.
All
right. So it's funny that you say how you say that. Well, it used to be how your deal breakers or your undoables, however you, what was the word that you used?
Non-negotiables.
Non-negotiables. Like my brother was the male version of you. Like he would not date a woman with children. I'm like, bruh, you might as well go find a monastery because it's gonna be hard to find a woman these days that don't have no children, especially our age. Unless you and R. Kelly try to scoop them up out of junior high.
Wow.
Like, you don't stand a good chance.
Wow.
To meet a 40-year-old woman that can have children and don't have children, that's a unicorn. That's a real unicorn. Just like you said, just to find a man at that age without children is like real rare. All right, so my personal pet peeve, all my friends keep telling me that I have to change my views because you never gonna find her, bruh. And I'm like, that's not true because I see them all the time. They are still out here. For me personally, I don't like fake. I don't like makeup. I don't like fake hair. I don't like fake fingernails. I don't like fake. I want to be able to see you. I want to see what you feel like when you got 101-degree temperature with the snot bubbles running down your nose and know that say, you know what, that's still my baby. I need to know what you look like this. In this era of social media, oh my God, that's a whole another personal thing. And I know I'm weird for that one, but filters. Filters drive me crazy on women. You know, it's this new thing, like you 50 years old, why are you using a filter? That's for the 16-year-old. That's for the 18 years old. Like you're too old to be using filters. Okay. But in response to that is, if we meet on a dating site or we meet online, or we know each other through social media, and we get together, and for whatever reason, we happen to go to breakfast or we wind up waking up to see each other the next morning, we might have just prayed and read the Bible all night. And the first question I ask you is, well, who the hell are you? And who let you in here? Don't get mad at me because I've never seen the real you. You know what I mean? Like, I think a lot of times women catch feelings over stuff like that there, but it's like, and then it's like, I look at it like a double negative because women will do that, but then all of a sudden, when she don't feel like putting on the makeup that day or don't feel like putting on the hair and wig, and he feeling some kind of way, well, what you don't want to be seen with me? Like, yo, you never let me see the real you, so I don't know who I want to be seen with. I just want to see what you look like so I can evaluate from a real perspective.
That's that, and you know what? That's a deeper conversation of standards. I want so as a woman who wears makeup, who doesn't wear makeup, who wears artificial hair, who doesn't wear well, no, I've always worn, like my hair's always braided down or maybe in plaits or something to that effect. But I think brothers have to give women a major break when it comes to these beauty standards, because keep in mind that these beauty standards are set by you guys. Like someone saying that that's in now, and women, because look, the way that the girls look back in the 90s and early 2000s is not the way. Like I just saw a video of Sierra singing I Promise, and she was like, she had no ass, but she was small, and that was early 2000s. Now it's 2020. Big asses everywhere. So the aesthetic of what is physically appeasing to a man always shapes the beauty standard for a woman. So when we look at things like, and I'm gonna get a little deep here, but when we look at things like porn, these ladies are not having sex in rollers and no eyelashes on. They are made up, and these are the women that, yeah. But these are the women that you look for instantaneous sexual gratification. So
you're an idiot. I said that you're an idiot. Any dude that looks at porn and want that in reality, you are an idiot. Because it's a difference.
But it happens because then guys take what they see, and that's a different topic. Guys take what they see in porn and and they think that every woman wants it rough, or they have this rape fantasy or whatever like that. But that's what they do. But what I mean by standards of beauty is because I agree with you 70%. If there's a person, like, I don't ever not want to see the real you. When we say real, that I put in parentheses, I don't ever want to see, it's not like I do not want to see you outside of your garb, your makeup, your eyelashes, your hair, whatever. I want to see you. But I'm also, if that's what, because a lot of people like, what you doing, what you put all that for? You know, some men don't notice, but putting on makeup is therapeutic to do that. And this is not the only culture that does it. Virtually every culture around the world has some form of modification that they do to make them. Indians have it. People in Africa put dots on their faces and put clay. Like there's a form of makeup for every culture, and it's a cultural thing. But I think it's kind of bad that men who set the standard of beauty then make women feel bad about participating in that standard of beauty. Because when it comes to men, you guys, I mean, there's no makeup for you guys, but you guys virtually do the same thing. It's not makeup, but it may be the clothes you wear. It may be the fact that you may not have a lot down here, but you talk a good game. It could be, there's modifications everywhere. I mean, you can let your hair grow out. You can let your beard grow out. You ain't got to get it cut. You could be scruffy. Like, is that the real you? You got to shape up and modify to make yourself look that way. But that's not how your body actually looks. Some of you guys get your eyebrows, little tweezers, whatever. If you got a unibrow, I mean, I'm not saying all you. But
yeah, I want you.
You know, some of y'all got crusty feet, but you won't let your feet be crusty, so you go get the skin. Like, there are things we do to our bodies for upkeep. So we need to allow women to, you know, be girls, you know.
Yeah, and I agree with you. And it's like I agree with you from a general standpoint. I guess that's why I feel the way that I do, because from a personal standpoint, I've never subscribed to that. What the average woman thinks that I think is beautiful, 9 times out of 10 is not going to be my idea of what beauty is. So I would prefer to you ask me what is beautiful to me, because all of that, what you thinking I want to see the Nicki Minaj's and the Meg Thee Stallions and all that did. I want to see that on TV. I don't want to be with none of them in real life, because I know it takes them an hour to look like that before we could actually get somewhere. I'm trying to go have dinner. I ain't got time for you to be taking a whole hour to be getting ready. You know what I'm saying? Because you got to put your face on, you got to put this on and all that there. And then it's like the other side of it is I hate it because, don't get me wrong, it's a double standard. And women were like, well, we finally got a double standard on y'all. No, it's not, because it's cool. Like I say, this is my personal thing. And I joke with my personal female friends about it a lot. Now, here it is. You could be bald today, or tomorrow you could go get you some braid. Friday, you could have it looking like you looking now. Then Sunday, you can show up with purple or red hair, whatever the case may be. And everybody on your pictures, girl, you killing it. Oh, girl, you gotta go, girl. You beautiful, this, here, that, there. Now, let me do the show next Tuesday with dreads. Nobody gonna be talking about how good my hair look. They gonna be laughing at me talking about how big of a fool I look. Like, how you go from a bald head to having dreads in a week, bro? You see what I'm saying? I might want to. I used to love. Thank God I'm proud to be black. But when I was younger, not knowing no better, I always like, man, I can't wait till I get grown, because I'm gonna have me a Steven Seagal ponytail. It wasn't nothing like Steven Seagal ponytail as a kid to me.
You're an idiot.
So it's like you can't go from. I can't just go get a Steven Seagal because that's what I think will look good on me, and that's what I want to do. And you know what I mean? It's like it's a double standard, because if men were to do the same thing, I laugh at these fools out here. Yeah, I call them fools because I don't believe in all that Beijing stuff. Putting what I call shoe polish on your beard and on your hairline and all that there. If that's what you want to do, just like the women that choose to do that, that's you, bro. But you will never see me with no fake beard. I don't care how much you love beards. If my beard can't grow, guess what? I'm not going to draw one on because you love them, and I'm trying to attract you. You know what I mean? And that's just me, though. But with that being said, it's the same thing with men. First of all, like I said, those now we just getting on the personal thing, personal pet peeves. They're not general. But me personally, I don't think that a man should have on open toe shoes. I don't think no man should ever be showing his toes in public. Like that. That's just whack to me. Open toe sandals and all. You will never, ever, ever catch me alive in a pair of sandals where you can see my feet. No slide, what they call them now, the shower shoes and all that there. And it's like it's not just a man thing, because what I'm getting in trouble. But I tell people all the time, listen, just because you're a woman does not give you the right to get manicures and pedicures. If I ever became president, which is why I would never be president, that would be one of the first things that I would, because listen, ladies, I'm telling you this out of love. I don't care what color you paint them toenails. I don't care how much they sand them down before. Some of y'all got slave feet. Let's just keep
not
it
slave feet, Lord Jesus.
You've been running from state to state, and then there is nothing that can help them feet. So just keep the nice closed toe shoes on. Like nail polish is not gonna help. Just like with men, there's a lot of men out there. Like I said, if you get in the bed, I forgot one of my friends. We were talking about this recently. Talking about pet peeves, and she was like, if I hear one little from the bottom of the sheets,
it happens.
From your crusty ankles and stuff, bro, you got to go.
It happens. True.
So
story.
The same way, he's like, look, bro, keep them socks on, man. It ain't gonna hurt. Just keep them socks on. Don't damage no seats that you ain't gonna be willing to pay for.
But then you know what? This goes back very quickly. This go back to the conversation of, when you think about all that, and it's a circle moment. When you think about all that, like, how you should look, what you should wear, toes, hair, shoes, feet, clothes. Are you creating a safe space for that person to be authentically themselves if that's what you promised at the beginning? You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah. Because granted, I prefer you not to have crusty feet. Mm-hmm. I prefer you to not wear briefs. But if that's what you're presenting to me and I say I love you and I create a safe space for you to be you, then I'm out to accept that brother with the crusty feet in the briefs. Mm-hmm. Despite what my preference may be. So
absolutely. And that comes with maturity. That comes with maturity because, like I said, it's not something that I like, and I have no problem with telling a woman that I don't like those things. Mm-hmm. But as a single man now, at this stage of my life, again, they're not non-negotiables. I'm gonna just be upfront with you. I'm not going to tell you. If I tell you this up front, when you after an hour and a half later, when you get it all together, I might not necessarily be one of the person that you want to ask, well, how do I look now? Because I'm gonna tell you, you look fine. You know what I mean? You looked fine before you did it, an hour and a half ago before you put all that on. You know what I mean? So you're not gonna necessarily get the gratification that you want out of me. But at the same time, I'm not gonna be like, well, I don't know why you gotta put all that on anyway and all that did. You look fine like you did. No, I'm not gonna do all of that did. And I would never go as far as to say, well, let me take you back. Like you said, you get older. Back in the day, I would never date a woman that wore all of that did. But right now, absolutely. I'm game. I try anything once in a while. Maybe that's why I'm in the situation that I am now, because things that I've always said that I wouldn't do, I'm willing to do now. You know, I've never in my life dated a dark-skinned woman. So it's like my mission now to find a dark-skinned woman. Back to preference. There's nothing wrong with dark-skinned women. It's just that I always was naturally attracted to red bones and just that pure caramel look. I just love it.
That's a whole nother conversation for a whole nother day.
Yeah, it is, because everybody always say that, normally light-skinned men, they like dark-skinned women and vice versa and all that there. I have never in my life.
When I hit my sister, I would never forget when we went to and I'm gonna get off because I want to hold you, but when we went to the bank, and it was two brothers walked out of the car, both of them fine. I mean, fine. One happened to be light skinned, one happened to be dark skinned. And me personally, I didn't think anything of it. I just saw two attractive brothers. She came out of her mouth and she said, they both cute, but I don't do dark skinned men. And I just looked at her, and this pinch, sort of the same pinch you feel when you see a white woman dating a black man. There was a, you know, you don't know where it comes from, but you know you have it. This pinch crept up in my spirit, and I just unleashed on her. And I think for me, it's because we're the only culture that is, well, not the only culture, but it started with us. You know, now you have Indians that are just jet black. I mean, Indians, people from India that are jet black. You got Asians that are your color, my complexion, dark, and they're not presented as desirable.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just thinking to myself, like,
by whose standards?
Exactly, but we adopt those standards because you're dating the skin color, not a person, which has to say something to how you objectify your own people. And so we got into this big argument, and to this day she still says, I don't like her child's father is darker than she is, but she assumes that he's light. My thing is, this colorism, that is one thing, or one of many things that gets up under my skin. Okay, so there's a few intolerables. Colorism is an intolerable thing for me. Homophobia is an intolerable thing for me. Racism is an intolerable thing for me, and sexism is an intolerable thing for me. Like when we get to those, when I start talking to guys about stuff like that, or any guy, girl, don't even matter. My chest, like my heart start beating fast. I'm like,
yeah, I know. You get real passionate when you talk about any of those topics.
And I'm like, bro, we about to go in. But yeah. But I forgive you now because you said you've gotten better. So thank God.
No, and like I said, it's not. I'm not saying that anything is wrong with dark-skinned women. I'm just saying what my preference is. Naturally, I'm attracted to a pretty light-skinned woman. It's not a light-skinned woman, because I could literally name some light-skinned women that I think are dog ugly. So it's not just about the light skin, because I do find a lot of light-skinned women unattractive.
So back up a little bit. So you think your preference for light-skinned women is a natural thing, or do you think it's something that developed based upon culture, propaganda, and social conditioning? How is it natural?
I think I would think the first. I would think it's more natural because I don't necessarily. I've always been a rebel. I march to the beat of my own drum, so I don't let society dictate to me what's cool versus what's not cool. I'm gonna hang out with whoever I want to hang out with, regardless of what my religious views are. I'm gonna date who I want to date, regardless of what anybody else thinks about it. That's just me. I'm comfortable in my own skin like that. But like I said, when I would just see different women, it's like, man, 9 times out of 10, the one that really catch my eye is a nice caramel or red bone. Now, like I said, it's not that that's all I'm looking for, because, like I said, Tiny, prime example. T.I. wife, like, you know, I want to get into name and name stuff, but she's very light to me, but she is totally unattractive. Like, I'll pass on that. You know what I mean? So it's not just about the light skin. But maybe that's something that you the viewers can help me with. I'm trying to find a attractive, dark-skinned female to build, not necessarily a relationship, but to go out and just see, because it's something that I never did before. Now, when I was younger, I wouldn't never consider it, but now that I'm older and divorced and single, it's like, well, maybe all these years I was looking for the wrong thing. You know,
I think you can't date a skin color. I think what happens is we have used stereotypical ways of thinking in order to sum people up based upon their complexion and everything like that. I will say this, as a Black woman, I find all Black people, red bone, dark skin. I'm not gonna lie. Something about that dark skin. I think the darker the berry, the more magical. Like, not even say more magical, there's a magic in dark skin that I think we have yet to appreciate because of the European or Eurocentric standards of beauty. The small nose, the whatever. For me, a lot of people say, oh, you look like you're mixed. You like one be like you're mixed. You can't just be Black. I say, no, I'm Black and blacker. My mom's black, my dad's black, I'm black. You know, but you look like you're Asian, but I'm black. And I'm proud to be black, and I wear it with a badge of honor. So all my people, dark, black, midnight black, that black, so black that when you smile, the stars come out, that creamy black, the
all
light
you see
skin.
is teeth.
All you see, but I love it. I love it because I understand that we are one of the few people that come in all different varieties. And I'm not dating the skin color, I'm dating the person. So you can be black as you want to be, beautiful as you want to be. Your heart is ugly. You be light as you want to be. If your heart is ugly, I don't care. And I much rather, I would prefer people not date me just because, because people are like, oh, you light. I thought I was brown. Like my mom's like, she light. I'm like, I'm brown, I'm not light, but now I figured out that I'm light.
Yeah, because you just like the same way. It ain't like I said. It's not about light skin, dark skin with me personally. Even though I realize that's more normally how society is, because I don't care how fine you are as far as I'm concerned. If you got a jacked up attitude or not a good person, I can really care less how pretty you are, because you're not going. Your who you are, your essence is, who your entity is, who your being is, who your spirit is. I'm not even going to see how beautiful you are. I'm not going to put up with certain things just because you got a pretty face, in my opinion. If you're a bad person, no. So I mean, it go hands in hand. But my last pet peeve while we're here is one thing that I hear people say all the time is, or this is the argument, especially while the election was going on. Can black people be racist? And there are a lot of black people that feel like black people cannot be racist. And I don't care what your definition of racism is. In my world, in my opinion, black people absolutely could be racist. Because by definition, racism is nothing different than, if you look it up, racism is one race having a difference with another race. So as long as you're a part of any race, I feel like anybody could be racist. And I definitely don't buy the notion that black people aren't racist, because in my personal opinion, based off of what we just been talking about, I think we're some of the most racist people on the planet Earth, because we don't just have things against other races. We have different of opinions within our own race, like the whole light skin and dark skin thing. Like it was interesting. I was having a conversation with a female friend earlier, and it changed my views earlier this summer when we were talking, and we was kind of talking about compliments, and I'm like, I don't like when people tell me, well, that wasn't really a compliment. If I gave you a compliment, that's a compliment. It might not be how you took it, but she's like, some compliments ain't really compliments. If you say you got an issue with big women, and you say, well, you pretty for a big girl, like that's not a compliment. And I'm like, no, that is a compliment. You just don't take it as a compliment, because my intent by saying that is totally pure. Well, why can't I just be pretty? Why gotta be pretty for a big girl? Or why gotta be cute for a dark skinned girl? You know what I mean? Like, so it did help me. That conversation did help me become more mindful of that. You know what I mean? Because like I said, the pretty is pretty. It shouldn't matter what size you are. If you're beautiful, you're beautiful. So I try to be more mindful of that there now. I won't be like, well, I think you fine for a big ass girl. Like, like I don't mean no malice behind that, because I might, that's just genuinely how I feel. But I have become, the older I get, I have become more mindful of how my words may affect somebody else in a negative way, in a way that I totally didn't mean it. It was a post a while ago, and I forgot how word went, but it was, the gist of it was, don't let your perspective, don't let my intentions get mixed up with your perspective. You know what I mean? Because sometimes we're coming from a good place, but depending on what state of mind or what that person that's going through is on the receiving end, or what they had in their previous life, you know what I mean? They're not going to take that as a compliment when you wholeheartedly mean it as a compliment. So, just be more mindful of people's feelings if you one of those type of people, as far as really care about people's feelings like you say you do. So I wanted to get that there. What's your last pet peeve for?
That I'm gonna touch on that. So very quickly, Racism by definition is a system. So racism is just not a stance on race, but it is a system that is mainly towards a marginalized group or a minority. So even if you Google it now, it has this long definition, and then at the end of it, it said normally towards a marginalized group or minority. The reason now, Black people can have prejudice, but keep in mind that our prejudice is we have to add historical context. White people have no historical context to hate Black people. They just all of a sudden thought we need somebody to be inferior so we can be superior. So we're going to pick Black people to be the inferior. Black people have a whole laundry list to hate white people. Now, let me say this. Is it good to hate white people, or should you hate white people? Me personally, it's on an individual basis. The system that was created for white people, perfected and codified over 400 years, is what I hate. Because I understand not every white person participates in that same system. However, the system was built in this, and the beneficiary of that system happens to be people of fair complexion or white people. Now, Black people can't be racist because the system to be racist does not exist for us. We don't have a system to then impose on a white person to enforce our racism. It's like going into a restaurant that only sells chicken and trying to force people to eat beef. I'm trying to get my analogy together, but let me go back to what I was saying real quick. Black people and I truly believe this, Black people cannot be racist because the system that it takes to even be racist does not exist. It is our people that are dying just for being Black. It is our people that are being jailed for just being Black. We make up the biggest population in prisons. Our men have a pipeline from school to prison. The education in our system in our area is lackluster. Teachers are underpaid. Students are crowded in classrooms. It's not the same. The system is so pervasive that it's in every facet of a Black person's life. It's in your work. It's at home. It's when you go shopping. It is the McDonald's they put in your neighborhood, knowing that you can only get $1, that your health is going to be at stake. It is in every facet of a Black person's life. It is not the same for white people. Now, I will also say this though. When Black people are against other Black people, that is the byproduct of the racist system that exists. We did not teach ourselves to hate light skin and dark skin, or to prefer light skin and dark skin. That was the system. That was, you separate light and dark. Light goes this way, dark goes this way. You have light skinned house niggas, you have dark skinned field niggas, and then what we do is we're going to amplify this and make them hate each other. And then even years later, and we're not too far. I mean, we're talking about 1870 something, that slavery was abolished. I don't know the date. 1884, I think 1884. Yeah. So we're talking about slavery was abolished, but all of the trauma and the tenets of racist in the system itself still exist. So Black people are responding the way that their father and their grandfather and their grandmother responded, and we're heirlooming our trauma. It's like, you got my eyes, but you got my trauma. You got my nose, but you got my distrust. You got my heart, but you also got my hatred of white people, because what you didn't know was your granddaddy got, beat up and almost hung in the shed by white people. So I want to clear the air and say that based on the definition, Black people cannot be racist. We can, however, be prejudiced. We can carry certain angst against people of different colors because we carry the history of what that person who looks like you did to the person who looked like me. And that's the difference.
Yeah. And see, that's why I rocks with you, because we could agree to disagree,
Disagree.
and it
Yeah,
don't turn into nothing.
Mhm.
You see what I'm saying? I agree with you, because first of all, I do believe that they are two totally different things. Prejudice being prejudice versus being racist. They are two totally different things. That's why they're two totally different words. They're not synonyms. They're not one interchangeable with another. They're two different things completely. But however, I do believe that black people could be racist. I don't believe that I don't believe that black people could be systematically racism based off of everything that you just said. Like I agree with all of that there because of the way the system is designed and built to work. The foundation is always going to be racist. You're going to always have to have bottom feeders so the 1% can stay in their big houses and everybody else go make the money and bring it to them. That's just the way the system is built. And they do the same thing to underprivileged white people. I learned that when I lived in Arkansas. And one of the things I mentioned it on one of the previous shows before was I know I grew relationships with white people down there, have friendships with white people. So I know that all white people aren't racist, or all white people aren't bad people. Some of them are just not aware. You know, we had talked about it on the show that you were on previously. You know, when I think of things like the situation with the young girls over in South Africa, different parts of the world, where they're literally getting mutilated at the age of 12 or 13 years old, getting their private parts like literally cut off because that's what society says. That's not cool. You know what I mean? That's a system design. But a lot of the what was I was saying? What I was saying was okay with out there, I would notice how okay, doing pretty good type white people that you could tell that they got an issue with black people. They would look at what they could call down there trailer park trash. You know, the white ghetto, which is usually in trailer homes instead of big old buildings. They look at them worse than they look at black people, even though they feel a certain way about black people because they like you got the advantage. You're white. Why are you still choosing to live like that? You can't. The system was built for you to win. Why aren't you tapping into it? So they have a disdain for what they consider trailer park trash more than they do black people. So I definitely agree with you. And it's crazy how powerful the mind is because, like you said, I believe I agree with you from the standpoint that we can't be. I believe that we could be racist just based off just race, belong with one race, hate another race. I don't believe. I know that we cannot be systematically racist, and the reason that I say that it could be like it's a learned behavior and it can be taught, which is why it's like you said, it trickles down for so long. It has such a lasting effect. I remember I'm a big documentary guy and like to see how movies are made because I love movies and stuff like that there. And I remember watching a conversation with Spike Lee talking about doing the movie School Days. Now, if you remember School Days, it was a big scene where they had a step show and all that there. And then the Jigaboos and the Wannabes, they get into the fight. You know what I mean? But Spike said, and they didn't notice at the time, the actors in the film, they didn't notice at the particular time. But what he did was he took like the Jigaboos, what the Jigaboos was considered the dark skinned people, because you know that's what the movie is pretty much about. Light skin versus dark skin within the black community. So what he did was he took the Wesley Snipes and all the dark skinned cast and put them in this one hotel, like sort of like in the hood. Whereas all the light skinned characters, you know, the Tisha Campbells and the Julias and them, he put them like on Broadway, like 42nd Street, in a nice hotel. So of course, naturally, when we get to the set, we feeling some kind of way because, you know, personally, we ain't got nothing to do with each other. You know, we ain't got nothing against each other. But the fact that we making the same movie and you staying over there on 42nd Street and I'm down here, I can't even go to the corner store to get nothing to eat. I feel some kind of way about that. Mm-hmm. So it's like he created this atmosphere because he wanted the fight scene to be authentic. He wanted the scene real, and he knew that would trigger them to feel some way about each other, putting them in the separate hotels like that there. And I said, you know, that's it's powerful and sad at the same time to me because it shows you that if you create the right atmosphere, you know, even with the government now and then, and I'm not even about to get all of that there, but I tell people all the time, fear is fear is a weapon. You know, what they do is they prey on your fears. I worked in the airline industry. So I tell people all the time, I can tell you firsthand, and people don't like for me to say this, but you are no safer flying in 2020 than you were flying in 1991, pre 9/11. But because of 9/11 and the impact that it had on society, they make you feel, well, look, we got to tighten up on security. They play on your fears to make you, now all of a sudden you won't have no problem throwing your water away before you walk to checkpoint and paying $5 for a bottle of water once you get on the other side of the gate. You know what I mean? But I thought, if I can't have no liquids, why is it okay for me to buy liquids on this side of the gate? You know what I mean? If it was really a safety type issue. So just those little things, but what they do is we play on people's fears and we play on people's emotions. So I think that's a real important aspect of it too. That, you know, we got to take into account that there's always going to be, whether it's black, white, indifferent, there's always something behind the scene pulling the string, so to speak. So you got to be mindful of that.
It's the same system, and keep in mind that racism is not the only system. So you have patriarchy, you have capitalism, which is what you're describing. The white people in Arkansas, and that's capitalism. That is, we're well-to-do, you're not. And so it's capitalism and classism, and you have racism. Now the difference is racism is interdependent systems working at the same time for the whole world. The entire world is feeding off of this construct that the darker if you're black, then you're inferior, and if you're light, you're better. When I talk to, there's a book called White Fragility. And when I talk to white people and they say, well, I have it hard too. I understand you can have a hard life, but you cannot parallel your white hardship to a black, exactly, because what we're doing at this time is you're dismissing and mitigating the again, it's all about history, historical context. Those white people who don't like the white people in Arkansas, that's just based off of class. I make $100,000 more than you do. You live on this side of town, so we're separated by class. Whether they treat you better or not, because you're a black person that maybe a little bit have more money, has nothing to do with the fact that once that white person who lives in a trailer park, the way that they're able to traverse the world, not that city, the world as a white person is not the same as a black man traversing the world. So the racist system is much larger than the patriarchy, which you're describing about the women getting mutilated. Yeah, but we done been on this thing for a little. You know, we could talk for days. I know you people like, what in the world? They've been on here for like 2 hours. We sorry.
I know. I'm gonna let you go. I'm gonna let you go. Like, man, listen. When that's one thing about myself, I tell people all the time: you can say what you want to say. You can do what you want to do, because I have no sponsors to lose. Unfortunately, I do want to pick up some sponsors along the way, but right now we have no time constraints. We don't have none of that there. But I don't want to let you go because I'm quite sure you need to eat and everything else. Yeah, Tasha, absolutely. One of the comments said that racism really start with white people. That racism exists in biblical times. Absolutely. Absolutely. That system was still, even in biblical times, that's why you had the children of Israel that were going through what they got through. You see throughout the Bible all the time where, you know, with different classes and classifications, and people couldn't move how they want to. So yeah, this is something that's been around forever. Forever.
But you gotta, but know the difference between, because keep in mind, like you had a people were born in the same, they were born in the same country. It's like all black people born in Africa, right? And then you had somebody say, hey, I'm going to be a Hebrew. Well, I'm going to be an Israelite. We're all black, but we're subscribing to two different religions. So that is not racism. That, because we're all the same race. But what that is that's, for example, the Crusades, right? Crusades were Protestants against Catholics. Now, here's the crazy thing about the Crusades. They both worship Jesus.
Yeah, they the same, they the Catholic Church.
And they killed hundreds of thousands of people because the way in which they wanted to pray to Jesus. Do you pray 7 times a day? Do you pray, do you go to church 7 times a day? Do you go to church 7 times a week? Or do you go to church 1 time a week? Do you take Sabbath? Do you do the communion? Because of how they wanted to worship the same God, they had a crusade which killed hundreds of thousands of people. Catholics died, Protestants, Queen Mary, all of that, trying to convert them to Protestant religion. So it's not racism. That is something that is honestly, that is on some religious high horse type of stuff that happened. That if you celebrate this religion, you're going to be a slave. This, because I'm Black and she's white, that's racism. So it's something completely different. So we don't want to conflate the two, because when we do that, we give this whole not anti-racist, but this ideology that, well, we just learned from you guys. We came over to Africa. You guys were already slaves, so we just took the slaves. No, because then we mitigate what white people did, and we can't do that, because the responsibility, they're not going to hold most of them. Not all of them, they're not going to hold the responsibility of what was done. So we got to keep illuminating that light and not use, I want to say Uncle Tom, but I feel like that's disrespectful, but not use dismissive tactics to put it then on us. Because it definitely was them. It was definitely them. Definitely them.
Yeah, and I agree with that. I think at the end of the day, it all starts with what your personal interpretation of racism is, because like you say, that was like you the point that you just made is exactly one of the problems that I have with religion. Religion as a whole, and I'm saying this as a Christian. But why do we have so many facets in Christians? Why do we have the AME? Why do we have the Church of God in Christ? Why do we have the Baptists? Why do we have, the Catholics? Why? Because in the beginning, it was all about serving Christ, or whatever that Christianity was initially about, following the laws of Moses. But then all of a sudden, Brother Tomato and Sister Brother Tomato, Brother Cucumber had an argument, and Brother Cucumber stood in front of the church and said, well, I believe that people need to be baptized in the Father, Son, and the Holy Ghost. And Brother Cucumber said, no, I just think you need to be baptized in the name of Jesus. So he went over here and said, well, you know what? Ain't no need us to keep going back and forth every Sunday arguing. I'm going to take my group of people that believe like me, and we going to go over here, and you can take yours, and y'all going over here. And then next thing you know, somebody within your church that you done broke off, they have another argument. Well, I believe in once saved, always saved. And somebody else is like, no, if we was always saved, once saved, then we would never have to repent, but only one time. You wouldn't have to live with you understand this. So now I'm going to take my people. Now you got 4 different churches. They all Christianity, but you got these different facets within that. So that's my problem with religion, why I always go back to what is your relationship, because it could get real tricky and messy if you get caught up in that spider web of religion as a whole.
Absolutely. And that's absolutely true. Yeah. But this was a great conversation. I be like, now, it's not me. I be like, I'm not like having to go, but I just want your show to be nice and concise. Yeah. Look at me trying to fix stuff as a woman, but I had an amazing conversation like always. And don't forget to follow me. Okay, The Real Janelle Simone on Instagram.
Absolutely.
Janelle Simone on Facebook. I have a video coming out on December the 7th. Sorry. We shot it recently. It was a lot of money. We did a lot of rehearsal, a lot of practice to make sure that this video was of a certain standard. So all my old heads, all my music connoisseurs, you like live band music, meaning that it's still professionally recorded. It's just that we decided to use a lot of live instrumentation. Make sure you check it out. It's an amazing video shot by Steph, the director. And and just watch me do this, because that's where this train is going.
Absolutely. And while you doing that, my heart is steady going down, because I was going to get ready to give a plug out there for all my songwriter friends, everybody else. Y'all need to get out there and get the pens writing and give my girl some good material. But you just broke my heart, because I was about to give you that plug, because I could have sworn I could pull it up Like that's a whole nother argument we might have to have off the air. I don't even want to do you like that. I don't even want to do you like that, but you already know where I'm going. Because I heard from a reliable source that I was going to be the lead in the next video that you shot. And I've been working out.
Okay.
I've been eating right.
All right.
I've been making sure, you know what I mean? I'm trying to make sure my eyes I'm easy on the eyes on camera. You know what I mean? I've been working out, looking for this, waiting for this phone call. And you done tell me you done shot another. Man, listen, man. But yeah, y'all still go out there and support it anyway. And I guess the first one in 2021, I might get that. My phone might ring for that one.
Absolutely.
But once again, girl, know that I'm gonna have you on. Once we get to the 2021, I wish you a beautiful Thanksgiving and pray that you have a Merry Christmas. Stay safe. I keep telling you, we gotta find a way to maneuver through all of this stuff here, because I don't want this to be the only time we have these kind of conversations is on camera. I want to see my peoples and have a good meal, and we converse, not conversate.
There you go.
And I'll make sure I'm smelling good and open the door for you, all that good stuff. But for real, I want you to end the year out with a bang. And like you said, Janelle Simone, y'all go to her page and follow her. Check out for the video. I think I did see a snip. Did it say something about it comes out like December 7th or something like that?
December 7th is when the video comes out.
Yeah, I'll be watching. I was thinking it was something else. I was like, nah, she told me she's gonna call me, but it might. I see now. But anyway, December 7th, y'all stay tuned. Be looking for that. Please show her your love, show her support. Her single is out there. I'm quite sure all her information is on as far as getting the material, downloads, and all that kind of stuff is on her page as well. Or if you're interested, contact her. But thank you. Know that I love you, girl. I look forward to next week. Like I told you guys, this is gonna be the last show this style. The whole month of December, I'm dedicating to Bishop James H. Everett Life. So each show will be dedicated to him, and I'm gonna have different guests throughout his life, different, and we just gonna big him up and celebrate him the way that he deserves to be celebrated. So I'm looking forward to that. All you guys that's interested, now I'm telling you this now, don't get your feelings hurt. For anybody that's interested in wanting to be a part of any of those shows or really want to do something for that, please contact me. Now, everybody that reach out to me, you're not gonna make it. I'm telling you that now, because I already have so many people that are already in position. But don't let that stop you. You know, get that no, as opposed to just taking it upon yourself to say, nah, he ain't got time for me. But if you really want to be a part of that and pay tribute and respect to Bishop Everett, holla at me and we'll try to work something out. With that being said, know that I love all you guys. I thank all you guys for making this show successful so far. I'm very, very excited. I'm very, very humbled, because when I started this, I was like, nobody want to hear from me. I'm a nobody. Don't nobody really care what I got to say. And you guys have been proving just the opposite and asking me, what you think on this? What are your thoughts on that there? And I don't take that for granted. And I truly appreciate you guys. I love you guys and look forward to seeing you guys next week. And as usual, in signing off, DeAndre and Lisha, know that Daddy loves you unconditionally, but I also love you intentionally. Till next week, peace. Love you, Jay.
Love you.
I love you more.
I love
Have a good one.